I'm announcing today that the Canadian government will now match the United States by removing all of Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods specifically covered under CUSMA.
Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. It is 3:58 a.m. Saturday, August the 23rd. I've got my big blue mug of coffee and this coffee is tasting oh so sweet this morning. I've been waiting and wanting to do this video since I went to bed last night. I actually went to bed last night, got up and got the little bits and pieces I needed for this video this morning. I have been looking forward to doing this video this morning because I love it when politicians have to eat crow. And honestly, I'm going to come up with a very unusual conclusion to this video today, so you'll want to watch to the end. But do you remember when people were saying stuff like this about Danielle Smith? All of these instances, I only brought up about 10 of them from last night, but if you go on X right now, you will find thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of instances where people called my Premier Danielle Smith a traitor for having the audacity to go to the United States and talk to Donald Trump about getting rid of tariffs in this country and getting rid of tariffs in my province of Alberta. And to this day, Danielle Smith, the only person, the only one who has done anything about tariffs in this country, keeping oil and gas tariffs down to 10%. Do you remember Mark Carney mocking Danielle Smith because she wanted to be a diplomat and do her freaking job?
Let me tell you one other thing. In these times, sending Pierre Poilievre to negotiate with Donald Trump is the worst possible idea. I can think of one other politician I might not send. It just came to me in the last 24 hours.
Do you remember when my Premier Danielle Smith, who has more balls than that little weasel Mark Carney has, and stuffed it right back in his face?
How do you feel about being mocked by the Prime Minister of Canada and making you the butt of jokes during the campaign?
Well, I've noticed this with progressive men, how much they talk about how much they support women until they meet a strong conservative woman. And so this is a pretty consistent type of approach that I've seen, not only from the current Prime Minister, but the former one as well. And the attitude is, sit down and shut up. Well, I don't shut up. I make sure that Albertans know exactly how I feel about issues, and I'm going to continue advocating on behalf of my province, whether he likes it or not.
And what does Team Carney want me to do? They want me to abandon my post, remain in Alberta, and do absolutely nothing to defend our province. They want me to cower in the face of Eastern media pundits and politicians who favor political grandstanding to effective diplomacy. I'm fiercely criticized for going into the lion's den to change the hearts and minds of the very Americans that we need on Canada's side to avoid a trade war with the most powerful economy on earth. They want this lady and Alberta to just sit down and shut up. Well, here is my response to that. I will not be silent. Alberta will not be silent. We will not be pushed around and called traitors for merely having the courage to actually do something about our nation's and province's predicament other than merely indulging in self-righteous tantrums.
So who's the traitor now? Mark Carney has completely given in to Donald Trump right now, and Danielle Smith was called a traitor for trying to do her job months ago and accomplishing something. Meanwhile, the Canadian economy has suffered, people have lost their jobs, and we really don't know the effects of all these tariffs over the last 7 months or so. We'll find that out later. But Mark Carney needed the crisis. I did a video on that. He needed the crisis. It led him to the leadership of the Liberal Party. It got him elected. He's failed at the one thing he was elected to do. I did another video more than 7 months ago. If you're on Trudeau's Team Canada, you're a damn fool. Well, a lot of politicians followed along with the faux Canadian patriotism, which I called it back then. The subheading of that video was, get off Team Canada, get on Team Danielle Smith. And Danielle Smith has been vindicated. But the crisis is over now, and Mark Carney now needs a win. That's why he's doing this. What has happened in the last week that would make him give in? And this is my conclusion. Pierre Poilievre got reelected, and Pierre Poilievre is loaded for bear, and once he gets into the House of Commons in question period, it's going to be a freaking bloodbath. And this one is the thing that Carney needs to get behind him. The tariff situation with the United States of America. Poilievre addressed this just yesterday.
And you asked me whether I would have, my goal would be to have tariffs gone on both sides of the border. I would have gone to the president respectfully and said, you remove your tariffs, we remove ours. Let's sign an agreement that restores the great free trading relationship that our two countries had for decades and that worked for both nations. That is what Prime Minister Carney promised during the election, and that's what I would have delivered in his place.
I have no doubt that if Pierre Poilievre were the Prime Minister of the country right now, this tariff issue would have been resolved shortly after the election on April the 28th. We didn't need a central banker to be Prime Minister of this country. We didn't need a businessman to be the Prime Minister of this country. We didn't need a businessman who wants to personally enrich himself by being Prime Minister to be the Prime Minister of this country. What we needed was a politician. And for those of you on the left who think that Pierre Poilievre has never had a job, he has. It's being a politician, which is 24/7, 365 days a year. Have you ever spent any considerable amount of time with a politician? It's a freaking hard job, and that's what we needed to resolve this problem. Not somebody who needed a crisis like Mark Carney. Now, what's my surprising conclusion to this? I told you at the beginning, I put all these little pieces together for this video this morning, but I checked the news this morning and I saw this article from Brian Lilly. Mark Carney's elbows disappear, but he's making the right move. And this is the right move. Well done, Mark Carney. But the problem is, you walked out mid-January to declare you were running for the leadership. You should have done this back in January. This is the kind of thing that should have been done months ago. But you use this to your advantage. And now I want to talk to the people who voted for this. I'm not going to call you fools. I'm not going to call you stupid. I'm not going to call you naive, but I'm just going to tell you this. Don't fall for this kind of crap again. The elbows up thing is stupid. It always has been. And instead of voting with your head, you voted with your heart on faux Canadian patriotism. Don't fall for it again if there's another election. And don't fall for it from a liberal standpoint and vote for the party again, which would make it 5 times in a row. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I'm over 35,000 subscribers right now. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.